Hey, hey everybody. Happy Labor Day. How exciting. Let me tell you, I I had unexpected company today and I really wasn't planning on doing too much for Labor Day, but you know, when people come by, I have to cook. So I ended up doing what they call team too much. I cooked everything. Like I went into the freezer, I broke out everything. I was like traveling over the weekend. Hey Marquita, how are you? It's good to see you. I was traveling over the weekend and so I really did not expect to cook. Hey Dwayne, how are you? And so it has been really interesting, having people. Hey, Stacy Jones. Stacy's my sister, my big sister. Woo! She's checking up on me. So it's been really interesting, trying to figure out what to cook and stuff. And I am always team too much when it comes. Hey, DeMarco, don't say anything crazy on my broadcast. This is my page. I don't know if anybody is friends with DeMarco or follows DeMarco, but he says the craziest things on Facebook. So this is my page, so you can't say anything, DeMarco. Hey, Eric, how are you? And so I want to talk today about the 6 media ground rules for working with reporters, because I think people get really confused about what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. That's my oldest son. Tyler, you want to say? Oh. That's my oldest son, Tyler, trying to get the dog. And so I want to talk about that, but I just wanted to wish everybody, oh, you like my hair, DeMarco? Thank you. I just wanted to wish everybody a happy Labor Day. If you're an entrepreneur, Labor Day does not mean a day off for us. I mean, we are working, and I have been working most of the day. So, but like I said, I wanted to do this video early. I know that people are probably, enjoying the barbecue and doing all that kind of stuff, but I had unexpected company. So let me tell you what I did. So we had, and this is scary that I had all of this in my freezer. So we had burgers, we had hot links, we had rib tips, we had pork steaks, we had veggie skewers. What else did we have? Oh, and we had chicken, and I made potato salad, macaroni and cheese, and homemade bread. So there you go. It was a lot. Hey Barry, how are you? No, I'm not giving out my address because now that I did all this, I'm really resting on the fact that I don't have to cook for the rest of the week. So, hey Lawrence, good to see you. Happy Labor Day to you too. Hey Abdul, if you all could please share this, send it to Chicago. DeMarco, you would be so proud of the rib tips I made. They don't make rib tips in Texas at all. It's rib tips are unheard of. So for me to actually find some rib tips, I buy a bunch of them and I put them in the freezer because they're so rare in Texas. And so you would have been proud. Stacy, you are always invited, but you were relaxing this weekend. So yeah, I am from Chicago. Well, I'm not from Chicago, but I lived in Chicago a long time, but I'm from St. Louis and they have hot links in St. Louis too. So there you go. Stacy, you and DeMarco will be waiting in Chicago for this plate. But anyway, so I had so far a great Labor Day. I am not done working. Thank you, Laura. My makeup artist, Ashley, who will probably pop on because she tries to check me out whenever I do a video to make sure that I do my makeup so that I don't just show up barefaced. So she's come over 4 or 5 times because makeup is not my thing. So she's come over 4 or 5 times to give me makeup tutorials. Hey, Michael Holman, how are you? No, I did not make dessert. That's one thing I did not make. Somebody asked me on Periscope. I'm on Periscope too. Somebody asked me on Periscope if I made a peach cobbler. Actually, that's my sister's thing. She makes the best peach cobbler. Or so my daddy says. So anyway, so Ashley always checks me out, so I have to make sure that I don't show up on video looking crazy because she'll talk about me and she'll be ashamed of her student. So anyway, so thank you for acknowledging that I look pretty. I appreciate that. If you all have shared the video, just type me in the bar. I want to get started. Like I said, today I just want to talk about the 6 media ground rules. Well, actually it's 5. I may give you a bonus, but it's really 5 for working with reporters. So I am doing my sister. I am doing a webinar on Thursday. If you guys have not joined, then please make sure. But we're going to really break down what businesses, brands, and entrepreneurs really need to do in order to get more media for their business. Thank you guys. I appreciate you sharing. And so the website, Wayne, where are you? What did you do for Labor Day? Wayne just joined. Wayne is in Texas, and I know you did something fun. The webinar is Thursday at 9. Thank you guys for sharing. And the website is bit.ly/cost of fame. And we're really going to be breaking down, thank you. You guys are just full of compliments today. I appreciate it. I'm going to be breaking down what you need to do to get media for your business. So for those of you who are not familiar with me, I've spent 20 years in the media business. So I am a media professional. And I really have been on the other side of people pitching to get their, interviews with the radio station, pitching to get the show. And I've also worked on the side of media where I am helping clients to get business. So when I resigned from the Tom Joyner Morning Show in September, that's really what I have been focused on doing, helping people get media for their brand, for their business. And I am a media professional. And so that's what I've been really talking about. And I've been talking about it for the past week. And so, like I said, the webinar is really the culmination of all of this. And that is Thursday. And the website is it's bit.ly/cost of fame. And Danielle Winningham, who is like a profit, wealth, and business coach, is going to be doing it with me because she also has benefited a lot from media with her business. And we both kind of resigned from our jobs at the same time. She was a VP at a bank. And so she resigned at about the same time. And so we really just want to talk about how media can build your business and your brand. So 5 media ground rules for working with reporter. The first thing is thank you, Charles, I appreciate that. You never say no comment. So, you always see people saying no comment to, if you don't want to answer a question. And really no comment is kind of damning as a spokesperson for a business, or if you're the spokesperson for your brand or whatnot. Hi, Shelly, how are you? Hey, Janine, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. The public really regards somebody when you say no comment. The public is like, they really look at you like a criminal almost. So if there's a question that you don't want to answer, you have to find a very eloquent way to get around that. And that's really why media training is so important if you're going to start doing more interviews. Oh, Wayne, you should have came over. I cooked a ton of stuff. You could have came and ate. Wayne said he stayed home and napped, which is hardly ever true for him since he's always out someplace exotic showing his drinks and not inviting anybody to join him. But we'll talk about that offline. So never say no comment. That really does make you look guilty in the public's eye. There is no such thing as off the record. So people have always assumed that if you're talking to a reporter and you say, this is off the record, and then you say something that could be damning to your brand or to your business, you really can't trust that it is off the record. I don't even suggest having a discussion about off the record. Sometimes people have asked us before, does off the record mean you won't mention it? You really don't want to give a reporter any ammunition. Hey, Thera Webster, how are you? Good to see you. You really don't want to give a reporter any kind of ammunition to use against you when you say something. And just because you say off the record to them, they could mention it to another reporter. It could be in casual conversation, and then you could have a big problem. So I always say just, don't say it if you don't want it to be known, period. And I worked with, for a while, I worked with, the NBA and the NFL. And so a lot of them have things going on that they really don't want to be talked about. And so one of my strict rules was you cannot, say off the record to anybody. Hey, Shalita Boxy, how are you? Also, there's no such thing as you approving a story before it's published. And this is mostly for print. So if you're giving an interview and you think that you're going to be able to say to the reporter, well, just send it to me and I'll look at it before it goes out. You are welcome, Curtis. I appreciate you. There's no such thing. Most of us will not say, that we'll let you approve it before it goes out. So just know that. One thing that you can do, and this leads me to my next tip, you can offer to fact check a story. So say it's in print and you've given a lot of maybe technical information, or it's about your business and there's just some things that you want to make sure that the reporter got clear. You can offer to fact check a story. LeBron or Oprah, but they publish their own stuff. They're not even worried about it. But you can offer to fact check a story. And so a lot of times when I was writing stuff for the web, that was like the best thing that I could have heard, because God knows I need all the help I can get, or Kobe might be able to get away with it. I needed all the help I can get because we were doing so many things. And that really is the life that a reporter leads, especially for print. I remember that, DeMarco. Oh my gosh. DeMarco says that he remembers seeing me at a Burnham Plaza Theater in Chicago for a screening of Love and Basketball in Chicago back in the day. That's really scary. You must have been a kid, DeMarco. So you can offer to fact check a story, and that will always help. And then the last bit of information, hey, my mom just, this is like a family reunion. My mom is on, my sister's on, people from high school are on. I appreciate it. Hey, Mom. The other thing is that you really should stay in your lane. Okay, so you were 18, you were 19. Oh, you were legal. Kind of. Really, you need to stay in your lane. So a lot of times, especially for print, reporters will ask a lot of questions just to try to get as much information as possible. And they'll ask questions that may not necessarily be your expertise. If it is not your expertise, I always suggest that you defer. Either give them, if this is for your business, a lot of times we have people that are certain experts in things, whether it be financial, whether it be marketing, whether it be, the product, whatever. If that is not in your lane, hey, Shauna, aloha, how are you? Then I always suggest that you just defer it to whoever the expert is. So say that you can contact the reporter with the expert, or that you have another suggestion, or you can just say that is not my expertise, and have them figure it out, because you don't want to go on the record and say something that could be incorrect, and get in trouble possibly with your company, or mislead the public in any way and have it come back to you and you look bad. So like I said, if there's somebody in your company that's better suited, or there's somebody as a part of your team that's better suited to answer the question, then I would just defer it to them, so they can answer it, instead of you looking kind of crazy because you just want to answer everything, because you just want it to be about you. So it is hardly ever about you. Keep that in mind. It's always about the message. It's always about the value that you provide. And that should always be at the forefront of your interview. Hey, Paul, how are you? Welcome to the broadcast. So just keep those things in mind. I'll go back through them really quickly. Also, don't forget to register for the website. But if you actually want this printout, this handout that I did from this, you can go to blessmenicky.com. That's, hey, Morocco, how are you? We're glad to have you. Wow, I appreciate it. What time is it there? You can go to blessmenicky.com, and you can get this handout. That's going to only be good for today. So if you want it, you need to go now. Yes, that is absolutely right. These tips are especially handy when it comes to politics. So you definitely, I'm actually working with a political candidate now, and helping him get his message nailed down. And I come from, my father was in politics for a really long time. And even though I really wasn't old enough to appreciate, and learn when he was in office, I appreciate it now. And if, I'm glad that my father, was upstanding and, had integrity and all that kind of stuff. But, it's hard when you look at politicians, because you kind of assume that they're a certain way. And so you want to make sure that whenever you answer a question as a politician, that you are like upfront, and that you don't answer any questions that are not your expertise. Well, welcome, Georgia. Hey, Naomi, how are you? I appreciate you joining in. It's 12:14 in Morocco. You're a soldier. I appreciate you tuning in. And so just to go over them really quickly, again, 5 media ground rules for working with reporters. 1 is never say no comment. There is no, you just don't want to, because whenever you say no comment, no matter what it's concerning, you come off guilty. 2 is never ask for anything to be off the record. Hey, Angelette, because when you say off the record, it automatically piques reporters' interest, and there just really is no such thing. Don't tell my people to go to bed, DeMarco. No. I need all the people I can get. The third thing is that you can't approve a story. So if you're doing something for the newspaper, I always ask just because you never know. But normally most reporters, hey Nancy, how are you? Most reporters will not send you a story to approve before it goes to publication. You just have to kind of get it when when it's done. The next one is you can offer to fact check a story though, and that's kind of a way to get a look at it. And most reporters are kind of glad that you've offered to help because they want to make sure that their story is correct. So bye, DeMarco. I'll talk to you later. And so you can kind of wrap it in the fact check thing, put it in that bin and see if that flies. And then the final thing is just stay in your lane, right? So, most high pressure interviews, many spokesperson, they feel the need to just answer every single question, or they just want to, people are crazy. Somebody just put on Periscope, forget this woman and focus on Jesus. Well, we don't have to forget me, and we can still focus on Jesus. So just stay in your lane. If there's somebody better suited to answer the question, then defer to them and reroute, the reporter to ask that question. And so those are the tips. If anybody has any questions, I would be glad to take them now. If you have any questions about getting more media or any questions about different media tips, I will be on for a few minutes more. Yes, Stacy, my sister's like, wow. I deal with it all the time. Trust me, I have blocked many of people for rude comments. That just goes with the territory. Luckily, I have a thick skin. Yes, Ms. Wright, you're right. It protects candidates from false leads. You definitely want to do that. So I agree with you totally. Stacy, did you make peach cobbler today? I'm asking my sister. Hey, Leisha, how are you, honey? It's good to see you. I am glad that I realized. I didn't even realize it was Labor Day until like Saturday. You didn't make any peach cobbler? Okay, good. Then I don't feel so bad. My sister makes like the best peach cobbler. So I don't even touch peach cobbler anymore. Now I'm not taking a peach cobbler. It's like my dad came to visit in Dallas one time, and am I a reporter? No, I'm not a reporter anymore, but I spent 20 years in media. So I did start out as a reporter. Yes, sir. And then I went into radio, and I was the news director for WGCI in Chicago and the on-air co-host for the morning show with Crazy Howard McGee. And then I went on to become the senior producer for the Tom Joyner Morning Show. So I've been in media for 20 years, but I did start out as a reporter. I didn't like reporting the news. You guys are funny. Oh, so anyway, so my dad came to Dallas and I made him a peach cobbler. And he was like, it's good, but your sister's peach cobbler is... I was like, okay, I will never... I'm done with peach cobbler. I'm done. At Faraday? No, I never worked at Faraday. I'm not even sure what that is. What is Faraday? So like I said, if you want more media tips, you can definitely go to blessmenicky.com. I change the media tips every day. Today it will be the handout that used to go with this what we just talked about if you just actually want it in writing. But also we're doing a free webinar on Thursday. So make sure that you're registered for that. And that is bit.ly/cost-of-fame. How does one get into radio? Well, I mean, there's different routes. One route is to go and actually get a degree in journalism, broadcast journalism, and go that route. I mean, the other route is just to have a great personality. I mean, unfortunately, the landscape of radio is changing a lot because of satellite radio and syndication. So there's not nearly as many positions as there were when I got into radio and before. So I always say I kind of like got in under the, like slid under the door because it was like syndication was starting to become big. And unfortunately, what syndication does is it eliminates jobs from the local market. So there are still local markets, and there's still local radio DJs. There's just not as many positions as there were. So, I mean, my suggestion is always to learn about the business as much as you can, whether you're going to go get a degree in it or not, but also start to meet radio professionals, because in radio, it's like they post the job because I think legally they have to do it, but normally they already know who they're going to put in the position before that other person is let go. So you really need to know people that are in the business of hiring, and so that, if a position opens up, if you're qualified for it, they can put you in. So and if you're really good. So when I went to GCI, I was working in Boston. I worked there. Oh, thank you. I have beautiful brown skin. Thank you. I was working in Boston. I didn't like Boston just because Boston is kind of a crazy city, but I was doing mornings there, and I was there for a year, and I had accepted a job. Hey, Eric, how are you? I had accepted a job in Florida, Jacksonville, and I was driving through Chicago. My sister was in the Chicago area at the time, and I had gone to broadcast. I got my degree at a school in Joliet, Illinois. And so I was familiar with Chicago radio, and Chicago radio, GCI, was really like the pinnacle of radio when I got into it. And so for anybody who knows, radio, Elroy Smith was kind of like the premier radio programmer. And yeah, that's a good point, John, before I finish my story. I mean, there are so many different ways to get into radio now. It doesn't have to be a terrestrial radio station. You can do an online radio show. That's very true. And so Elroy Smith, so I was driving to Chicago. Elroy had ignored me for like a year. And so like every week I would send him my air check, which is like kind of a demo of what you sound like on the air. And I would send him, my resume, and, I'd always get that letter, we're not hiring. And so when I was driving through to go to Jacksonville, I stopped in Chicago for a while and to stay with my sister. And I went up to GCI and I had my air check, and I didn't have an appointment, and community-based radio is a good suggestion as well. I didn't have an appointment, and so, Elroy, well, actually it was Jay Allen, who was the assistant program director, was there. And so, we had a meeting, and Elroy popped my tape in, and he hired me that day. So it really is like, and that kind of was it. I called Jacksonville, was like, I won't be coming. And I stayed in Chicago, and Elroy just kind of made room for me. There really was no job. He just kind of made room. I did overnights. I did all sorts of things. And then I started doing entertainment for the morning show, but they had another female co-host. And then one day I told Elroy, like, we have to make a decision. Yeah, I know J. Anthony Brown is on the Steve Harvey Show now. I was like, we have to make a decision because I can't just be part-time. And so then they made the switch, and I became the female co-host. So it really can happen all sorts of different ways, but people have made some really great suggestions about community radio, internet radio. When I broke into radio, there really were no options. You had to be on a terrestrial radio station. Satellite was just beginning. There were no real internet radio stations. I think Blog Talk Radio was just starting, but it was very limited. And I really wanted to be on terrestrial. But what you can do, especially if you don't have any more if you don't have much experience, is you can really hone your skills on internet radio or Blog Talk Radio. You can create your own show. You can sort of develop your personality. You have the opportunity to do all of that. So, it really is a great place. Why did you leave the TJS? So I left because I resigned from the Tom Joyner Morning Show in September. So it's almost been a year. And really, I resigned because it was just time for me to make a different choice. So it's like I have 2 teenage boys, one of them that you saw run by here a little bit. Hey, Lexi. And it really just was time for me to make a decision. They had sacrificed so much, and I had devoted so much time to my career. And, you know, with my oldest one, he had just now started, when I resigned, he had just started his freshman year of high school. And I only, you know, had 4 more years with him. And so for me, it was just about putting them first and trying to make, as many memories this last 4 years as I could, being able to stay home. So, hey Thea, how are you? So it really was just about making a different decision. I loved working with the Tom Joyner Morning Show. It was crazy, but it was exciting, and I got to experience things I never would have experienced if I hadn't been there. And so it was phenomenal. I mean, but sometimes, hey Donald, how are you? But sometimes you have to make a different decision. And so that was my decision. So yay. So, all right, guys. Well, I am signing off. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Don't forget, hey, Nisi, how are you? I'm doing good, honey. Don't forget to join the webinar, bit.ly/cost of fame. I'm not going to be doing this webinar again this year. So if you are interested in trying to figure out how to get more media for your brand or your business, then you definitely want to be a part of this. You know what? I think that microphones do matter. And for anybody in radio sound, the sound quality is really important. I say for beginners, Shauna wanted to know what type of microphone I would suggest for a podcast. There's a lot of different kinds, but I would suggest researching the Snowball first. The Snowball is a really good, quality and cost-wise. And so I would look at the Snowball first. Yep, I love to communicate, as you can see. I love to show up and just talk. I think I've been a communicator since birth, whether it's writing or radio, so I agree. I just love to communicate. And so I appreciate you guys indulging me. Ahmed says he likes the Yeti, so Yeti is a good one as well. So Snowball and Yeti. Ahmed is also in radio, so try the Yeti as well. Snowball and Yeti, Shauna. You're welcome, darling. Okay, so you guys enjoy the rest of your Labor Day. I'm going to go back to doing what I was doing, which means eating. So, my sister just said, I said that I love communicating, and my sister said that's a fact. I can't. Thank you, Crystal. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys later. Have a great Labor Day.